and if he starts escalating the war with tactical nuclear weapons, a handful of 10, 15,000 young men with rifles, there's no point to it.
There's no point, absolutely.
So you know the rules of the game. I'm going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you step wherever you want. I would fight for my country. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay, tell us why you agree that you would fight for your country.
If there's a reason that I'm in line with, then I think it's an internal order to do that, to defend the values that you get from your country, to defend the future of your kids.
In this case, Hungary.
In this case, Hungary. Yes.
When I would fight for my country, so if it aligned with your values, and I know this is contrary to everything you do because you're a physician, but would you pick up a gun?
If I had to, yes.
What does that look like? Let me ask this question. So, under what scenario can you imagine picking up a gun, an actual loaded gun, and shooting it at an invader?
That's a tricky question. First, to defend myself in a dire, dangerous situation.
Self-defense.
Self-defense, and also to defend my patients, my colleagues, my family.
So if some lunatic came in here with a gun, started killing everybody, and you had a gun, you would shoot them in self-defense?
I think so.
Okay, so there's a war going on to the east on Hungary's border. If Vladimir Putin got it in his head that Hungary was next and started, it's a terrible thing to say. I mean, obviously, I hope this does not happen. I hope he leaves Ukraine immediately. But if that were to happen and the troops were to roll in here, I feel really bad about actually saying it, but I'm trying to create a scenario. So if he starts rolling in here with troops, would you fight?
If I had to, yes.
What do you mean if I had to?
If I don't have a chance to flee, because that's what I would do first.
You would flee first, and you would take your family?
Yes, definitely.
Would your mind change if you were younger? Like if you were 20, what would you do?
I think I would do the same.
Do you consider, how do you prioritize your obligations? Is it first to your family? I don't know if you have a family.
Yeah,
Okay. So is it first to your family? Is it to your patients? Is it to the country? What is your top priority?
Just as you said, family, patients, country.
So your the reason you would flee first is to get you and your family out to be safe?
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you couldn't do that, you would fight?
Definitely.
Okay, so what if, in your mind, it was an unjust war? Like, I don't know. So I can't even imagine a situation, but given what's going on in Ukraine, I guess I could think of some weird things. But what if Hungary did something that was, I don't know, misinterpreted or something, and then there started to be a wider conflict, and you didn't think Hungary was in the right? What would you do?
Flee. Save myself, save the family, and I wouldn't participate in that. I could not support a war like that. Yeah. Actually, all wars are unjust. Yeah. And I wouldn't say that I could support even a war that is rightful. I would try to avoid it as much as I can.
Yeah. Maybe I should. It's kind of being depressed asking this question. It's a terrible question to ask people. But I think it's an important question to ask.
It is. Yeah.
One of the questions that I ask people, what conscription is, voluntary service. What do you think about this is a different question, but voluntary service for young people in the country, voluntary military service?
If it's voluntary, I've got nothing against it.
What if it's not? What if the government said, okay, you're 18, you're going to go to the army for a year. We got some craziness raging on the border. We need to fulfill our NATO obligations or whatever. What do you think of involuntary military service for a year?
I used to grow up in circumstances like that, so we all had to do our national service for a year and a half or a year, and I just can't support it.
You cannot support it.
I cannot support involuntary military service
Because why?
because if I see absolutely no rationale in that. But the stories I heard and the importance of the Hungarian army has never been that much that it had to found something like involuntary service.
Are you worried about the conflict in Ukraine escalating to Hungary?
Very much, yes.
And that doesn't change your mind about involuntary service?
No, it doesn't.
How come?
Because I think a handful of Hungarian soldiers wouldn't make a big difference.
I'm trying to think if that's true. I guess from what we've learned in Ukraine, that's probably true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And if he starts escalating the war with, again, I'm sorry to even say this to you, I apologize, but tactical nuclear weapons, a handful of 10, 15,000 young men with rifles, there's no point to it.
There's no point, absolutely.
Okay. Is there anything I should have asked about I would fight for my country that I didn't ask you?
I can't think of it.
Okay. Well, thanks for talking to me today. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for the depressing conversation.
That's okay. Thanks very much.
It's a little depressing. I think I'm going to take this one off the board here.